All right, shalom, shalom, brethren. It's a pleasure being here with each and every one of y'all. We'll start with the introductions, going with Dean first.
No, I'm Brother Dean. Been a Geechie farmer for about 4 years now.
I am Asa Ben Yisrael, Asa Akir Ben Yisrael.
My name is Eliyahu Ben Asa, son of Asa.
And thank you for the opportunity of sitting down with me and allowing us to interview you and showcase your works here. So where are we right now?
It is our pleasure. This is Atlanta Harvest. We're located in Jonesboro, Georgia. You can find us on Google Maps. Go to the website, atlantaharvest.com. This is one of our farms. This is the farm closest to the city of Atlanta. Basically, we've been here for about, 4 months now?
Yeah.
About 4 months now we've been here. Transformed the place. We're growing food. And this is basically a lounge area in the back where we just tilled up some tomatoes. We're probably going to put a late herb garden back here. Our local lands is in Dublin, Georgia. Dublin, Georgia is about 2 hours, almost 2 hours from this point right here. We have 40 acres there, of which we have 16 to 17 acres in propagation. We have livestock, we have cows, we have lambs. We usually have goats, but we sold a herd just now. We got a whole bunch of chicken, horses, the whole nine. There's a big viral thing going on right now about we need to buy land and we need to feed ourselves. And then it seems like the conversation stops. And the other viral thing is in my 25 or so years of being in the walk is that we've been having these conferences. Conferences sometimes built around the feast days, sometimes built around just us getting together, but there's no workshops. There's no civilized talk about what the next plan is. So it seems like it's just a re-injecting or redrawing of blood every time. You know, when we fall off, we need a re-injecting, then we fall off, we need a re-injecting instead of trying to solve some of these problems that are going on so we don't have the same repetition, the same redundant issues.
Yes,
all right?
yes.
And one of the ways that we're trying to help and give back to that cause is we want to teach people how to be more self-sufficient. I say more self-sufficient because I know there's various levels on how people need to come out of her, per se. Some people aren't ready to be off the grid. Some people aren't ready to not have air conditioning. You know what I'm saying? Some people aren't ready to be walking across, 2,000 feet across a field. So there's various ways that we all can just separate ourselves a little bit and be a little more self-dependent. And we're trying to help people with that. And a lot of people have reached out to us who are buying land, who have followed that dream. And it's a courageous one. But then they buy the land and they find out that the land was the easiest part. Owning land is so simple right now.
And how long ago did you get started
10
farming?
years. Well, 10 years ago, but we bought the first piece of land down here about 8 years ago.
Wonderful.
8.5 years.
And I know that this is your son, but how did the relationship between you and Dean get started?
Well, this is my grandson right here.
How old are you, sir? 13?
Nah.
It started about 4 years ago. No, but I was part of the crowd. That he was just explaining and saying, hey, we need to get land. We got to do stuff on our land. And my family inherited some land. We inherited some land passed down. So I was one of the people saying, hey, we got land, let's do something. And a friend of mine at the time was on the farm, and he called me and said, hey man, you should really check this out. I was just getting to know Asa because I was considering working with him, doing some markets and stuff with him. And my brother was like, man, you should really come on down and check it out. But I was ignoring it. It was really up to the point where Asa actually invited me.
What time frame was this?
It was about 2013 maybe.
Okay. What is it like when you first started your first farm? What were some of the challenges you had to overcome? Your mindset when you began and then your mindset now?
Where I was from in New York, basically I was in the various types of marketing. So I made a decent living for myself. I moved out to the Poconos. You know the Poconos if you're in New York, right? Even when I was still working in New York. So when I came down here, man, this was just a drastic change. And in fact, I was over there at Goshen, the spot with Yashuvel.
Yes.
I was there about a month ago, man, and it was very much reminiscent of how we first started. And it was like I try to give them some encouragement because that's especially when you go out on a limb you're gonna reach those challenges. You're gonna see those challenges. And one of the greatest challenges for us was just basically acclimating to the weather, acclimating for the self-sufficiency of all of it. I had central air, I had central vacuum, I had, we were on the other side of a ski resort, so we had a decent living arrangement. So when I came out to Georgia, man, the farm that we had wasn't even a farm yet. It wasn't even a housing area. We bought an extra truck. We had a barrel that we fill up to shower. I'm talking about using the facilities in the woods, the whole nine. So when you asked me what was the greatest part of that, it was all just an acclimation. It was all a serious acclimation. But it was sent from above, and that's one of the things that everybody who comes by, we ask them, like, why are you here? Because the one thing that's not gonna work for people, especially impoverished people, is when you move on to something that's more dynamic, because you're failing at doing the wrong thing somewhere else. You have to be successful. You have to have some kind of success. You have to learn work ethic. You have to do something, because if you don't have that kind of blood in your veins, you're gonna go out to a place of self-sufficiency and fail and go back to your old circumstances. So
back to Egypt.
And that's basically it, for lack of a better word.
So we know our history in this country. We don't have to necessarily go into detail about that, but we know our role and we know why we were sent here. And now we have opportunities to venture out now, go do this and do that. Where do you feel that we are now, and what more do we need to progress further?
It's really just been said already. Conquering self, overcoming those luxurious appetites, especially if we're going to become a nation again and become communal. It's almost in a communist type of mindset you got to get into. Maybe not fully, but you're going to have to. If we're going to rebuild a nation, if we're going to restore camaraderie with each other and trust.
Everybody's going to add to the same pot.
Yeah. You don't have to. And that requires going through some of the similar rites of passage, like you said. A lot of things I've done in life, I would constantly man, it's the hardest thing I ever did. Even when I traveled overseas and lived overseas, I was telling myself, this is the hardest thing I ever did. But when I started doing self-sustaining type of lifestyle, I took the cake. Wow. I took the cake. And still to this day, every day I wake up, man, this is the hardest day I ever had right here.
Wow.
Because it's always something new, and we're in such a expansion stage right now that sleep deprivation, that's overcoming self. Yeah. You just want to stay in the bed. You don't want to get up right now. I just went to sleep 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So
cats be having 102 fever. We'd be like, yo, you really milking this sick man. Come on, man. We got to get to work. He's laying down for a good 3-4 hours. We got to get to the field.
Wow, I love it.
That's a true story.
Yeah. Wow.
But there's something else to it. But I want you to see if you can chime in.
My take on it is that I believe that we're still in captivity of the mind, captivity of the self, like we were saying. I think that, it's a process in order to break out of that, and everybody has their own, because everybody's had their own experiences. Me, myself, I've been brought up in the truth. So I say almost that I'm sheltered in a way, because I have not been exposed to the many ways that reality really takes our people and, what was the word? Encapsulates, but keeps them in captivity. So many of the earthly things that we have to deal with, but also not having a focus, not having a path, not having a vision is something that also keeps people in captivity. For myself, being under my father, I have vision and I have a goal. Obviously what we are doing, and I have also been blessed with other gifts and other techniques that go along in the same direction, but also in another supportive role. Like for myself, I do visual art, photography, videography. I do marketing type of stuff, and that goes hand in hand with what we're doing. Obviously, to sell vegetables, fruits, things like that, everything that we're doing, but also to reach out.
Credit, he makes sure that his talents fit the agenda. So he'll find a talent that I didn't know. I'm like, what you doing, boy? And then by this time next year, he shows me how that talent fits the community.
But it's that type of mindset that we have to have in order to break out. Because if you are satisfied with the position that you are in now, with at the point in your life having such goals and things like that. For example, like when we take interns, many interns in the beginning will say things like, oh, you know, is there any payment? How much are we getting paid? And the question after that is always, you know, well, what is your net worth?
Yeah.
How much have you gained in the time that you have spent working for yourself? And for a lot of people, it's not a lot. And that goes to say,
it's usually less than $3,000 for 20 years of work.
and that goes to say that, you know, you've been under the influence of, you know, you've been in the illusion that, you know, your life's work, the things that you have been doing with your free time, have put you in such a position that really means nothing. And so, like I said, I think that one of the best routes for us to take is really to find a vision. So for some of us, that means, well, for most of us, it really should mean finding somebody to work under so that you may gain a trade, so that you may help to build for a community. Because who are we if a community is just filled with people who are used to a 9-to-5 and sit behind a desk? What can you really add to the group of people that you fellowship with?
We ended off on you talking about tutelage and being under your father's instruction and whatnot. And we brought up how important that was. So, Dean, would you like to expound a little bit on that and on the importance of that?
Yeah, actually. I think that's a good focus that we as young men need to, you know, get directed toward, and that's actually getting under some tutelage. You know, like he was saying, he haven't dealt with a lot of woes.
Yeah, he was real personal.
A lot of woes that we have. You know, I fell underneath that woes of not really having direction, or to be very direct, not having a father who was in some type of commercial or business or visionary position that could give me something to work on. So it left me at 18 through 25 years old trying to find my way. And every 6 months I'm in a whole different bracket of doing something because I didn't really know which way to go. And I still see that in people today. They're getting stressed out and, you know, all manner of ill dealings because they're trying to find their route. They don't really know what to get involved in, what's lucrative, what would be good for building business, enterprise. So tutelage is the best way to go because you'll get with somebody who has those skills, both business, both family, and able to give you the underpinnings of what this faith is really about. Especially when we're dealing with what we're doing with Geechie farming. That gets us back into husbandry, gets us back into tribal lifestyle, you know. And what we have here, what me and Eliyahu share, is Elder Asa here, who has been involved in the agriculture for years. Well able to teach Torah, well able to teach how to put your hands in the earth. You know, it's a statement, oh, I want to get my hands in the earth. Well, I mean, you could just go outside and tuck your hands in the ground and you did it. You accomplished that. But what you gonna do? Like, what are you producing when you put your hands in the earth?
That's such a cliche statement nowadays.
Get your hands in the
I
earth.
won't get my hands dirty.
Go outside and do it. So, yeah, I mean, that's for me. So, you know, with the tutelage thing, what I decided to do once I came to do the internship at Local Land, afterwards I went back and thought about it for a while. Like, you know what? I need to go back and actually get up under that umbrella and actually be a servant to the brother. There's scriptures in the New Testament that say, seek another man's wealth. And I always used to think, what is that about? What is that about? But in doing that, you gain the love of somebody who's accomplished, who's established. You gain the skills from them because of the things they experience. You don't have to bump your head on that stuff no more. And you get, what do they call, a good recommendation. When it's time for you to actually go out and get on your own, establish your own, you got some help, you got hands-on training, and you got good recommendations. People making phone calls and stuff for you, so it's a lot to go with
willy-nilly, like, I'm going to do this, it doesn't matter.
And I think even past that, I want to talk about how much of a humbling experience it is to be under somebody. I mean, obviously, you know, he's my father, and I'm always being humbled, obviously, because I'm his son. And, you know, sometimes it's a little more than humbling. bruises and things. Like, we're not gonna talk too much about it.
Okay.
We live.
We're not gonna talk too much about it. But I catch myself every day understanding more and more about being humbled and thinking about how I'm going to use these experiences later in my life. Obviously, I'm only in my 20s, but knowing that later in life I'm going to have to be interacting with other people in the community, other elders, and to be able to see myself in positions that may be of importance, to know and understand who I am, who is above me, and who is looking up to me in the future is really important. I see brothers being humbled. I mean, even not even brothers, Hebrews being humbled, Gentiles being humbled in the presence of elders because of the knowledge of, the wealth of knowledge that they have. And it's important that we share that and that we tell people and that we educate people on its importance. And, whatever trade that you're going to go into, whether it's agriculture, carpentry, engineering, or, I don't know, whatever other wherever other areas you may be interested in, putting yourself under somebody, to being able to humble yourself in order to fully grasp everything that they're trying to give to you is important.
It's cultural. This is really cultural. In the days of antiquity, you could not just come up to somebody and be like, yeah, I'm an expert in thus and so. They would be like, well, who did you learn what you learned? And who are you under? And you'll have, especially teachers. Teachers would be like, I've learned from the school of this and this. He was his teacher. He was his teacher. And he was my teacher. So, and you'll even arguably you'll find that even in the days of Yehoshua, we have this dual lineage tree where you see in the book of Matthew and then the book of Mark. You'll have two separate lineages. It's been argued that one of the lineages was his teaching lineage, which makes perfect sense. A lot of people, when they look at, when we pray with the authority of Yahushua, and people look at that as like a worshiping thing. It's not really a worshiping thing as much as it's like he paved the way. We are under him, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of modern day Hebrews can't accept that is because we've been taught since we were born that we can all become the president of the United States. We've been taught that we can be something that's not very practical. So everybody's going to be a basketball star. You're going to be either a lawyer or a doctor.
Something grandiose.
But it's not that it's not possible, but nobody says you're going to be a servant to a great person. So instead of them shooting for that field that may be more practical for them, they shoot for the stars and they miss everything. But there's nothing wrong with being a servant. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it's absolutely required. Let me tell you about that. When you master a craft, especially as a servant, and you master that craft, it goes along with natural science. Natural law. We promote natural law a lot. And it's not, when people hear us say that, they think we're talking about farming. It's not that. It's, Proverbs is natural law. Mishle is natural law. What's the one that you use? Sirach. Natural law. He's talking natural law. He's saying, this is going to work if you do it this way. Basically, that's the whole of it.
Multitude of counselors, their safety.
All that, right? So when we talk about natural law, people think we're talking about farming. We're not really talking about farming per se, but the same laws that you can apply to the elements, as far as the ground, the air, the nutrients, the sun, you can apply to your relationship with your wife, your family, how you deal with people who are under you, how you deal with people who are over you. You can apply, if you master these things, you can apply it to everything. There is a natural science that goes in cooperation with all of this. So, let's say, all right, me, I've been farming 10 years plus. Yes? In the midst of farming, I've learned as I bend and I study and I apply these techniques to animals, to vegetables, as I apply training techniques to, say, tomatoes, I also apply it to those who are under me. I've learned, and the gray hairs give you this, to have patience. I've learned to change people with positive reinforcement. I've learned the deadliness of what negative reinforcement gives under people. You know, that's why when you were about to say something, I was like, not negative. Keep it positive. Because you know, for real, the point of you saying what you're saying is really not at all to shine light on what we're doing wrong, is it? It was to shine light on, look at this way that I figured out. Yeah. And this is the direction we're going. But when you shine light on that negative, nobody hears the positive. So we shouldn't be talking negative about each other at all. Right. I mean, there's already enough of that. There's plenty of that going around. So we should be just looking forward. See, one of the main things that hit me as I was listening to you guys is, you know, we study Torah practically every day. And I'm talking about opening the book. But you don't see us making videos. And I've read Torah maybe about a quadrillion amount of times. And we've studied, we've done notes, we've checked out linguistical differences. But we're not all over social media saying, nope, you should do, and well, sometimes, you know what, we get caught up in the argument, which is, you know, we're working on it. But the point of the matter is that what you'll see us doing is promoting practical ventures, because there are 1,000 teachers. There are 1,000 teachers. Just started this a year ago, maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago. Now I've been in this walk, I believe, for almost 27 years now. You don't see me out there just, hey, we need to apply this. Because you see these brothers and they're doing that, but then you ask them, well, what's your family look like? You know? What is your inheritance to your children? What trade are you passing on? You know what I'm saying? There's none of that. There's no practical application. That's what we try to enforce. Because believe me, I see you though. Believe me, once you apply these things, this is what our forefathers were applying. Once you apply these things, everything else follows.